Hello everybody, welcome to my demonstration. In this demonstration we're going to talk about how Puppet handles configuration files. We're going to start with some basics of configuration files. Now before we can go on, and you could go on and learn more complex aspects or learn more complicated Puppet techniques, you need to have a solid understanding of how resources work. Now we've alluded to resources a little bit, but resources are really the fundamental or the principal building blocks of Puppet code or of the Puppet declarative modeling syntax. Now there's a big emphasis on how Puppet is declarative, meaning that when we put something in Puppet code, we're not specifically saying exactly how to do something, just do something. Now this is important because when we talk about this, we talk about the Puppet resource abstraction layer. Now in Puppet, just about anything that you do in system configuration or anything that you might want to manage insofar as files, users, services, and packages, just to give you a few of the most common resources, is handled in a unit called a resource. So understanding resources is really the first thing that you need to know about how Puppet actually handles configuration files. Now Puppet can translate back and forth between the syntax or the syntax that we specify in our resource and specifically the native tools or the platform specific tools of the operating system it's running on. For example, if we create a Puppet user, it can be a user on any specific operating system. Now obviously, if we're using Windows, creating a user on Windows is different than if we create a user on a Linux box. So the abstraction layer takes care of that. So what we need to do is when we work with resources is we want to describe basically how we want a resource to look, and then Puppet takes care of all that abstraction behind the scene, that we don't actually have to do that. Now, when we put something in a resource in Puppet code, we call that a resource declaration. Now, resource declarations are written in Puppet, or they're written in the DSL based on Ruby. So if you understand Ruby, you have a good understanding about how you would actually start coding in Puppet. So if you have a good understanding of the Puppet and the Puppet DSL, you're well on your way of learning how to use Puppet as a tool. Now, as far as the DSL goes, the first step in learning how to